Welcome, the Lord's chosen. Power is too much caffeine. And guess what? You are shake them to their core. Why do they need you out? Here's the brutal truth. People aren't afraid of you for what you do. They're terrified because they can't define you. And what the human brain can't define, it fixates on. Science even backs this up. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. The mind clings to unfinished puzzles, unanswered questions, and unsolved mysteries like a detective who's had too much caffeine. And guess what? You are that unsolved mystery. You don't fit into their neat little boxes. You don't react how they expect. You don't break when they push you, or worse, you break and come back stronger. That kind of resilience, that kind of power, it sends shivers down their spine. And the funniest part? While they're busy analyzing you, obsessing over you, and trying to figure you out, you're already 10 steps ahead, watching them scramble. So why does your presence shake them to their core? Why do they need to uncover who you really are? The answers will make you see yourself in a way you never have before. Buckle up, this is about to get real. Number one, you operate outside the fear maze. You don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You don't, just to see if you'll break like they would. When you don't, it's arrogant or lucky than to admit they've spent their life woven into how they think, speak, and make decisions. They don't even realize it because it's been programmed into them since birth. Fear keeps them predictable, controllable, easy to manipulate. And here's where you become a problem. You don't play by those rules. You don't hesitate to take risks. You don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You don't let fear make your choices for you. That level of freedom, it's rare. It's unsettling. People don't know what to do with someone who doesn't operate within their limits. They're used to seeing people hesitate, conform, back down, but you move forward anyway. And that makes them nervous because it reminds them that their excuses are just that, excuses. They want to understand what makes you different. They'll analyze you, test you, even try to bring you down just to see if you'll break like they would. When you don't, it shakes them. They start to wonder, how are you not afraid? How do you keep going when most people would stop? What do you know that they don't? And deep down, it forces them to ask themselves the real question, could I be that strong too? That's what really scares them. Because if the answer is yes, then they have no excuse for staying small. They'd have to face the fact that the only thing holding them back is themselves. It's easier to call you reckless, arrogant, or lucky than to admit they've spent their lives being controlled by fear. That's why they're obsessed with figuring you out, because if they can explain you, they don't have to face the truth about themselves. But they'll never fully understand, because the difference isn't in what you do, it's in what you refuse to be ruled by. And that can't be taught, it can only be chosen. Number two, you reflect their weaknesses, feel hollow. They start comparing themselves to you as arrogant, cold, or unrelatable. It's about their own unresolved battles. Existence forces them to confront their own weaknesses, and that's uncomfortable. Most people spend their lives avoiding their flaws, justifying their failures, and making peace with being less than they could be. Then you come along, standing in your power, refusing to settle, proving that growth is possible. Suddenly, all their excuses feel hollow. They start comparing themselves to you, whether they realize it or not. Why is this person so confident when I'm full of doubt? Why do they take risks when I hesitate? Why do they seem so in control when I feel like I'm constantly reacting to life? These questions gnaw at them because deep down they know the answer. It's not luck, it's choices. Choices they didn't make. Instead of using you as proof that they can do better, they convince themselves that there must be something wrong with you. They'll label you as arrogant, cold, or unrelatable. It's easier for them to believe that you're too much than to admit that they've been playing small. If they acknowledge your strength as real, they have to face the fact that they could have been stronger too. And that realization, it's brutal. So they lash out. They question your authenticity. They look for flaws, waiting for the moment you stumble, just so they can tell themselves, see, they're not that special. It's not about you. It's about their own unresolved battles. The truth is, you don't have to do anything to make people uncomfortable. Your growth, your resilience, and your refusal to settle are enough. You don't expose their weaknesses. You just refuse to hide your own strength. And that contrast, it makes them see exactly what they've been avoiding. Number three, you're an unsolvable puzzle in a wind. but not a pushover, powerful but not power, without needing to be understood. And that to them is when they can label someone, they feel like they understand. Makes them feel safe, like they have control over the world around them. But then there's you. You don't fit neatly into any box. One moment you're approachable and warm, the next you're distant and unreadable. Sometimes you're the loudest in the room, other times you say nothing at all. You're confident, but not arrogant, kind, but not a pushover, powerful, but not power hungry. You disrupt the way they expect people to behave, and that frustrates them. They want to know what drives you, what your real motives are, whether you're someone they can trust or someone they should fear. But no matter how much they watch you, they never quite figure it out. That's because you don't live according to their expectations. You don't explain yourself. You don't adjust your personality to make them comfortable. You simply exist as you are, unapologetically, without needing to be understood. And that to them is unsettling. People who lack depth can't stand those who have it. They don't know what to do with someone who doesn't need validation, who isn't easy to define, who isn't desperate to be liked. They keep searching for the real you, thinking there's some hidden layer that will finally make sense of you. But the truth is, you're not hiding anything. You just refuse to be predictable. Predictability is what makes people feel in control. When they can label someone, they feel like they understand them, like they have power over the situation. But you move in a way that can't be tracked. You change when it suits you, evolve without warning, and never explain why. And that terrifies them, because if they can't define you, they can't control you. And if they can't control you, they have to face the reality that some people like you, are simply beyond their understanding. Number 4, you move in silence, but not. It unsettles them. Silence. Your ability to withhold information isn't about if you're observing, strategizing, or simply uninterested. Most people hand over their thoughts freely, trying to prove themselves, be understood, or gain approval. But you don't operate like that. You don't explain your every move. You don't reveal your plans prematurely, and you don't waste energy trying to convince people of who you are. That level of control, it unsettles them. Silence makes people nervous because it forces them to guess, and when they can't figure you out, they start projecting their own insecurities onto you. They assume your quietness means weakness, hesitation, or a lack of direction. But what they fail to realize is that silence is a weapon. A well-placed pause can reveal more about someone than 100 words ever could. By saying less, you let others expose themselves, what they fear, what they assume, what they want to believe about you. Your ability to withhold information isn't about secrecy for the sake of mystery, it's about strategy. You understand that power isn't in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. People who overshare give away their leverage. They announce their intentions, making themselves predictable. But when you move in silence, no one can anticipate your next step. And that is power. The most unsettling thing about you is that no one ever knows what you're truly thinking. They don't know if you're observing, strategizing, or simply uninterested. That uncertainty keeps them on edge. They overanalyze your actions, waiting for a reveal that never comes. They don't realize that your silence isn't a sign of submission, it's a conscious choice. Because while they waste time trying to decipher you, you're already 10 steps ahead, watching them make mistakes you'll never warn them about. Number 5, you're comfortable in chaos while others. Chaos is where you sharpen your skills. It's uneasy. They can't rely on the usual tactic, your refusal to break, wishing they had the same strength. Life throws them into the unknown, they freeze. Fear takes over. Their minds spiral into worst-case scenarios, and they either shut down or make reckless, panicked decisions. But you don't just survive chaos, you thrive in it. While others scramble to regain control, you step into the storm like you belong there. Chaos is where you sharpen your skills. It's where you adapt, evolve, and reshape reality to your advantage. When things fall apart, you don't waste time wishing they hadn't. You don't break down over what you can't change. Instead, you assess, adjust, and move forward with purpose. That kind of resilience terrifies people who crumble under pressure. They can't comprehend how you remain unshaken when everything is crumbling. This ability makes you unpredictable, which is exactly why it makes people uneasy. They can't rely on the usual tactics that work on the average person. Fear doesn't control you. Uncertainty doesn't paralyze you. Stress doesn't make you sloppy, it sharpens you. You don't react emotionally to chaos, you use it. While others panic, you see opportunity. While they retreat, you push forward. This is why people either admire or resent you. Some will look to you as a leader, drawn to your ability to remain calm when they can't. Others will feel threatened by your refusal to break, wishing they had the same strength. They'll try to make you doubt yourself, tell you that you're reckless, that you should be afraid like they are, but what they really mean is, your ability to thrive in chaos makes me feel weak. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them doubt you. While they sit frozen, waiting for stability to return, you'll already be 3 steps ahead, reshaping the chaos into something greater than they ever imagined. Number 6, you don't engage in petty battles, you pit pointless conflicts, or see you waste energy defeating. You understand that power isn't in reacting to not just another loud, reactionary person. They rip in battles that don't actually change anything. They mistake noise for power, thinking that whoever shouts the loudest wins. But you don't have time for that. You don't fight for scraps, you fight for the feast. This frustrates people who expect instant reactions. They want to pull you into petty drama, provoke you into pointless conflicts, or see you waste energy defending yourself against meaningless attacks. But you don't engage. Not because you can't, but because you choose not to. That choice is what unsettles them the most. They wonder why you don't bite back immediately, why you don't feel the need to prove yourself at every turn. What they don't realize is that silence isn't surrender, it's calculation. You don't fight to satisfy your ego, you fight to win, and that means knowing when to strike and when to walk away. You understand that power isn't in reacting to every challenge, it's in choosing the battles that actually matter. This kind of strategy is something most people don't have the patience for. They want immediate satisfaction, instant validation. But you think long-term. You don't waste your time on enemies who aren't worth your energy. You focus on the wars that shift the balance, the fights that lead to real power, the battles where the outcome changes everything. That's why people fear you. They realize you're not just another loud, reactionary person. They realize you're playing a much bigger game. And when you do engage, it's never random, it's deliberate. By the time you strike, you've already won. They just don't know it yet. Number 7, you can't be bought, bribed, or manipulated. They can't tempt you with power because you don't rewards. But you don't give them that satisfaction. People conditioned to obey can never understand. They'll tell how the world works. People are predictable because they'll always act in the interest of their own desires. But you don't play by those rules. You can't be bought, bribed, or manipulated. And that makes you dangerous. Those who rely on control through external rewards or fear don't know how to deal with someone like you. They can't tempt you with power because you don't crave validation. They can't buy your silence because you're not afraid to lose. They can't shame or guilt trip you because you don't build your decisions around approval. You operate from a different level of strength, one that doesn't bend to cheap tactics. This unsettles people because it removes their ability to control you. They're used to people being predictable, following the same patterns, chasing the same rewards, but you don't give them that satisfaction. You act on your own terms, move by your own principles, and refuse to be swayed by things that weaken most people. It's not that you don't recognize power or success. It's that you refuse to be owned by it. You see through the illusion of control that others fall for. They think they hold the keys to influence, but in reality, they are prisoners to their own greed and fear. You are free, and true freedom is something that people conditioned to obey can never understand. They'll test you, they'll dangle opportunities in front of you, hoping you'll compromise yourself. They'll try to provoke reactions, push your limits, find your weakness. And when they realize you truly have none they can exploit, that's when the fear sets in. Because a person who can't be controlled is a person they can never defeat. Number 8, you resurrect stronger. Understand how you keep rising. They wonder why you don't think that when life gets too hard, quit. Don't just recover, you rebuild. They can take your Kali, but you've been knocked down more times than they can count. You've lost, been betrayed, underestimated, and even counted out. And yet every time they think they've buried you, you come back stronger, smarter, and more unstoppable than before. That terrifies them. They don't understand how you keep rising. They wonder why you don't stay defeated like most people do. They assume failure should have broken you, but instead it refined you. And That shatters their entire belief system, because if you can rise again and again, it means they have no excuse for staying down. It forces them to ask themselves a question they'd rather avoid. What if I'm not actually as weak as I tell myself I am? Some will admire you for it, others will resent you because deep down they want to believe in limits. They want to think that when life gets too hard, quitting is justified. Then they see you thriving after every loss, evolving after every betrayal, treating setbacks like training rather than defeat. And they realize the truth, their limitations were self-imposed. That realization makes them either want to follow your path or destroy you for exposing it. The ones who try to break you will keep trying, but they will always fail. Because no matter what they throw at you, you don't just survive, you adapt. You don't just recover, you rebuild. They can take your comfort, your security, even your reputation. But they can't take your resilience, and that's what makes you truly dangerous. Because as long as you refuse to stay buried, you're impossible to stop. And number 9, your presence forces hiddenness. Your presence makes it impossible hiding behind false smiles or pretending to be part of your presence is a threat. They don't want to be exposing the right things, offering their support, but deep down they're waiting for your downfall, hoping you won't make it. They believe they can remain hidden, pretending to be friends while plotting against you in the shadows. But your energy is like a spotlight, and it forces their true nature to the surface. Your presence makes it impossible for these hidden enemies to stay comfortable. It's not that you call them out directly or confront them head on. It's just that you don't need to. Your very being exposes them, strips them of the masks they wear, and forces them to make a choice, adapt, expose themselves, or flee. They can no longer pretend to be who they're not when you're around. This is a powerful ability, one that intimidates the weak. People who are comfortable hiding behind false smiles or pretending to be part of your circle can no longer keep up the act. They either start showing their true intentions, slowly, subtly, or they leave. And when they reveal their true selves, it's often too late for them to turn back. You've already seen their deception and it's exposed. For those who genuinely value loyalty and authenticity, this is a gift. You clear out the noise and the falsehoods, leaving only the real ones standing beside you. But for the fake ones, your presence is a threat. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want to confront their own lack of integrity, so they try to avoid you, or worse, undermine you in subtle ways. But no matter what they do, they can't escape the truth. You see through them. It's not your fault they're afraid of being real, but it is your power that forces them to face it. And that's why they fear you, because you make the darkness visible, and it terrifies them to be seen for who they truly are. Number 10. You're the storm, not the shelter. Landscapes and rebuilds from the ground up. People of this kind of force will crumble, and those who are ready to evolve the very thing they needed to propel them forward feels like it's falling apart. But you are the storm. You're not here to coddle or offer refuge. Your presence is a catalyst for transformation. Where others bring calm, you bring chaos. But it's not the destructive kind that leaves nothing in its wake. You're the kind of storm that clears the air, shifts landscapes, and rebuilds from the ground up. People often confuse strength with safety. They think that being strong means offering comfort to others, being the safe space where they can rest their worries. But that's not you. You don't offer comfort, you offer change. When you walk into a room, people don't just feel the shift in energy, they feel the pressure to evolve. Your presence doesn't promise peace. It promises challenge, growth, and upheaval. Those who can't handle this kind of force will crumble, and those who are ready to evolve will rise. You're the embodiment of that which others fear, change. And yet, this is exactly what they need. In their moments of comfort and complacency, they've become stagnant. They've grown soft in their search for safety. You're the push they need, the storm that uproots their carefully constructed lives and forces them to adapt. They may curse you for it in the moment, but later they'll realize that you were the very thing they needed to propel them forward. For those who cling to their comfort zones, you are the thing they fear most. They prefer the shelter, the calm, the assurance that everything will be okay. But you shake them out of their stupor, forcing them to face the fact that nothing ever changes without disruption. And that is terrifying to those who are too afraid to evolve. Number 11. You don't need permission to exist people because it challenges everything they've been taught. And they wonder how you can be so bold, so unapologetic to face a hard truth. The only decisions to live authentically. We're told that success is something that has to be granted to us by someone with authority or a position of power. People wait for a sign, an invitation, or validation before they make their move. But you don't wait for anyone. You don't ask for permission to exist or to succeed. You simply do. This mindset terrifies people because it challenges everything they've been taught. They've been conditioned to ask for validation, to seek approval, to fit into society's mold before they can achieve greatness. But you bypass all of that. You take action without hesitation, without worrying about what others will think or whether you have someone's stamp of approval. You understand that success doesn't come from being chosen, it comes from choosing yourself. People can't comprehend this. They've spent years waiting for the right time or the right circumstances to act, and they wonder how you can be so bold, so unapologetic in your pursuit of what you want. They question why you don't need anyone's endorsement, why you don't care about being approved. They don't understand that your strength lies in your independence, your refusal to be dependent on anyone's permission to live your truth. You make them question everything. They wonder why they've spent so much time waiting, holding back, seeking validation that was never going to come, and in doing so you force them to face a hard truth. The only person who truly holds the power to decide their future is them. They can keep waiting for permission, or they can take a page from your playbook and just start living without asking for anyone's approval. The choice, as always, is theirs. But it's your confidence and action that remind them of their own limitations, and that's what they fear most. Number 12, you speak truth without dilution, evil. This makes you dangerous to those who rely on it, but they know it's real. They know that when you speak a flaw, because deep down they know they can't handle it. Most people crave acceptance and never stepping too far outside of their comforts. They don't understand how you can move through life without constantly seeking the of others. Their self-worth depends on external, but because you understand something most people don't. The truth isn't negotiable. This makes you dangerous to those who rely on illusion. They can't manipulate you with guilt or social pressure. They can't twist your words to fit their narratives, and that makes them uncomfortable. When you speak, there's no wiggle room. You don't leave space for misinterpretation or convenient excuses. You strip away the layers of denial people cling to, exposing reality for what it is, whether they're ready to hear it or not. The strong respect you for this. They may not always like what you say, but they know it's real. They know that when you speak, it carries weight because you're not pandering or seeking approval. Your words cut through noise and deception, and that's a rare thing. The weak, however, fear you. They see your honesty as an attack because they've built their lives around avoiding hard truths. They'd rather you lie to them, make them comfortable, tell them what they want to hear. But you refuse, and so they'll label you harsh, unkind, or arrogant. They'll try to paint your honesty as a flaw because deep down they know they can't handle it. But here's the thing, you don't speak the truth for their comfort. You speak it because it matters. And while others waste their energy avoiding reality, you embrace it, master it, and use it to shape a world they can barely comprehend. That's why they fear you, because deep down they know the truth doesn't change just because they refuse to accept it, and neither do you. Number 13, you're more interested in power than popularity. Most people crave acceptance. They shape their personalities, opinions, and actions around what will make them liked, approved of, and included. They fear rejection more than failure, so they play it safe, stay agreeable, and keep their thoughts within socially acceptable limits. But you couldn't care less about being liked. You're after something much greater, power, and that terrifies them. Popularity is fragile. It's built on bending to the will of the majority, pleasing the masses, and never stepping too far outside of their comfort zone. It requires constant maintenance. One wrong move, one unpopular opinion, and the crowd turns. You understand this, and that's exactly why you don't chase it. You'd rather have respect than shallow approval. You'd rather be feared than flattered. Because real power isn't about how many people like you, it's about how unshakable you are in who you are. This mindset confuses and frustrates people who live for validation. They don't understand how you can move through life without constantly seeking reassurance. They don't get why you don't alter yourself to fit in. And because they can't control you with approval, they fear you. They realize that their usual tactics, manipulation, peer pressure, social exclusion, don't work on you. They see that you're playing an entirely different game, one that isn't based on fleeting popularity, but on long-term influence and unbreakable self-mastery. The truth is, those who chase popularity are at the mercy of others. Their self-worth depends on external approval. You dictate your own value. That kind of independence is unsettling to those who still need the crowd's applause to feel worthy. They'll call you cold, arrogant, or unrelatable. But deep down, they know the truth. You don't need them. And that's what makes you powerful in a way they will never be. Number 14, you move with a purpose. You out. That's because you don't operate on the same level. Only what serves your purpose. You share only what is necessary. They're stuck thinking small, living moment to moment. You don't fit into the neatly defined boxes that others as power respect it. Those who fear it seek to. It's in staying true to who you are, no matter the storm. Captivated by the raw power you possess, because time to harness that strength for yourself. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. You out. That's because you don't operate on the same level as them. While they focus on immediate gratification, you're building something bigger. While they react to situations, you create them. While they play checkers, you're 10 steps ahead in a game they don't even realize they're in. This makes them uneasy. Most people rely on patterns. They expect certain behaviors, certain reactions, certain weaknesses they can exploit. But with you, they find none. You reveal only what serves your purpose. You share only what is necessary. Your unpredictability isn't randomness, it's strategy. You don't move just to move. You move when it matters, and that kind of discipline is something most people will never understand. They'll question your motives. They'll assume you're hiding something, that you must have some secret plan they can't see. And in a way, they're right. Your plan isn't hidden. It's just beyond their comprehension. They're stuck thinking small, living moment to moment while you're outmaneuvering them before they even realize a game is being played. The truth is, people fear what they can't understand. And you are a mystery they will never solve. Not because you are trying to be, but because their way of thinking will never be able to grasp the depth of yours. That's the difference. That's why they're obsessed with figuring you out, and that's why they never will. In a world that thrives on conformity, you stand as a force that shatters every expectation. You don't fit into the neatly defined boxes that others are so eager to place you in. Your strength isn't loud, nor is it rooted in the approval of others. It's quiet, fierce, and unapologetically your own. People are drawn to you, but they're also terrified by you. You are the living embodiment of everything that makes the status quo uneasy. The person who thrives in chaos. The one who doesn't ask for permission to exist. The person whose very presence forces people to confront their truth. Those who understand this power respect it. Those who fear it seek to control it. Yet it remains untouched by their attempts. You've learned the art of resilience, how to rise from your failures stronger than before, and you've mastered the skill of remaining unmoved when others crumble. Your purpose is clear, your path is your own, and no one can stand in the way of your evolution. The world can't comprehend your next move, and that's exactly how you like it. Your strength isn't in pretending to be something you're not. It's in staying true to who you are, no matter the storm. And in doing so, you force others to reckon with their own insecurities. You are both the storm and the rebirth, the one who leaves people with no choice but to either rise to your level or fall behind. When they try to bury you, you rise stronger. When they seek to control you, you remain untouched. And when they try to deceive, your presence shines a light on the truth they can no longer hide. They can't help but be captivated by the raw power you possess, because deep down they know they will never have the strength, the resolve, or the audacity to be truly free like you. In a world built on playing it safe, you've chosen a different path, the one that leads to greatness, no matter how intimidating it is to walk. And that is exactly what makes you a force that no one can ignore. If you felt the power, the energy, and the unstoppable force of what we've just discussed, then it's time to harness that strength for yourself. Don't let the world pass you by while others settle for mediocrity. Take the reins, step into your power, and watch as you transform every obstacle into an opportunity. If this message spoke to you, if it lit a fire inside you, then hit that subscribe button. Join this journey of empowerment, self-mastery, and unapologetic growth. You're not here by accident. You're here because you recognize the greatness that lies within you, and you're ready to bring it to the surface. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Subscribe now, and let's make sure you're not just existing, but truly living in your full power. The world is yours to conquer. Don't miss a single step of this transformation. Subscribe, stay with us, and together, let's rewrite what's possible. Stay sharp, stay unapologetic, and I'll see you in the next one.